Formula 3 Cup returns for a brand new season starting at Silverstone National. Qualifying was first up on the pecking order, and as you can tell, it was challenging conditions for the majority of the grid. With the choice of slicks and wets, drivers were finding the conditions very challenging out there. Shane Kelly's number 11 found it particularly difficult spinning out in the entrance of Luffield, the current lap record holder failing to put in a competitive time. Mechanics were primed and ready in the pit lane, ready to receive any more drivers wanting to change to slicks, and again, it proved challenging for one more driver. The 2020 champion Stefano Lini also finding these challenging conditions tricky. When leaving the pit lane after receiving the slick tyres, crashed immediately into the pit exit wall, and as you can see from this impression, he was not happy with how it happened. With heavy damage to the front left suspension, it was unclear whether or not the previous year's champion was going to take part in the first race of the day, but a great effort from the mechanics ensured that that could happen. Last year's champion still clearly unhappy with his mistake. So how do they start the first race of the 2021 season? John Corbett puts it on pole with Stefano Lini alongside. James Winslow and Dominic Paul on the second row of the grid, with George Lyon and Tony Bishop on row number 3. Rounding out the grid of only 7 cars is Shane Kelly after his spin early on in the session. After qualifying, we spoke to the top 3 before the first race of the day just to see their thoughts from what happened in qualifying.
Yeah, I think we just made a lucky call with the tyres, it was kind of like, it was touch and go with, do you run wets or slicks? And we kind of made the right call, and I just took it really easy for the first 10 minutes and built, and then I managed to put in a few quick ones at the end of the session, so yeah, it was a good result.
So it was difficult to decide what tyres to go on really. The circuit was drying, but it was drizzling while we were in the assembly area. So I started on Pirellis, the same as every other car, minus John Corbett, who started on slicks. I think my quickest lap was lap 4. Got on the pace quite quickly. The track kept drying even though it was drizzling. Decided to pit, I think, on lap 11. Went in for slicks, there was about 6-7 minutes left, and came out the pit lane, all fine, and I didn't factor in the fact that the pit exit would be rather wet and on new cold slicks. I just had no grip, and unfortunately I hit the barrier on the pit exit, which was that was my qualification over.
Last minute we decided to go out on wets. Engineer advised me that it was probably slicks. For me, it's my first race in the series, and I'm driving Tony's car, so I'm a bit of a guest along this weekend. So I thought I'd go for wets just to take it easy and qualify and keep the car safe. But yeah, we qualified 3rd, which was, I think, pole position in the class that we're in. But John, who I've been coaching for 5 or 6 years now, and managed to put it on pole position on slicks. So super proud of his achievement, and the team did a very good job. His first ever pole position, so I'm pleased with my P3, but I'm even more pleased with his pole position, to be honest.
Moments before the start of the race, the heavens opened, so it was an easy choice of tyres for the entire grid. It was wets all around. With the hastily repaired Stefano Lini's car starting on that front row of the grid, it was going to be a dramatic start to the race, where 6 of the 7 cars managed to get away, with Tony Bishop being left stranded on the start-finish line. It was a great start from the 3rd place man James Winslow to put it up into pole position before they even got into turn 1. But drama started early, with George Lyon's number 15 colliding with the wall, causing heavy rear-end damage and a gearbox issue, with the driver unsure if race 2 is on the cards at all. The overtake of the day definitely has to go to Stefano Lini, after repairing the car with this amazing overtake around the outside of Luffield to take the lead from James Winslow, the 2020 champion, showing he wants to take another season win. Tony Bishop, Shane Kelly and John Corbett were all battling very closely for position, with only 7 seconds covering them in the battle for 4th place. With the podium finishes being Dominic Paul in 3rd place, James Winslow in 2nd and Stefano Lini taking the win by nearly 15 seconds. You can definitely say that the 2021 season kicked off with a bang. It's all going to be down now to what can happen in day number 2.